Welcome, students, to another day of geometry. Did you know that? Did you know you're in geometry? You'll be doing geometry for the rest of the school year. So buckle in, buckle down. You can look at chapter 8 all you want, but this is geometry. I'd love to spend a bunch of time shooting the breeze and chewing the fat, as it were, but we've got work to do, so let's not spend too much time on this. What do you think so far of this geometry unit? How is it? Excellent. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it too. Want to talk a little bit about geometry before we get into the bookwork and explain that. What geometry, let me get out of the way. What geometry is the study of geometry. You might want to take some notes, maybe not right now, maybe after I get this these notes all finished. You can take these notes just to kind of get a good understanding of what geometry is. Basically, what we're studying points, lines, angles, and shapes. Okay, that's what geometry is saying. Like this piece of paper, I can have points on it, lines on it. This is a two-dimensional shape, and we're studying these different things. You know what a point is. You know what a line is. Sometimes it'll be a line that goes on forever. Sometimes it'll just be a line segment. I know the point is. Angles, there's acute angles, there's obtuse angles, there's right angles with that little box in there to show that it's a right angle, and shapes. And what kind of shapes are there? What's a three-sided shape called? What's that polygon called? Triangle. You'll be studying four-sided shapes, five-sided shapes, six, seven, eight, octagon. We don't talk too much about the seven-sided shapes or the nine or the 10-sided shapes, but it's study of shapes, and we study how these things interact. You had that math tool that you played around with yesterday. Talk a little bit about these shapes. We'll be studying triangles, quadrilaterals. That's a four-sided shape. What did you say for a four-sided shape? Well, there's a lot of different kinds of quadrilaterals, and you might have said one of those quadrilaterals. But because quadrilaterals show up so much in society, these quadrilaterals, we have a lot of different kinds that we talk about. We'll be learning a bunch of them. And then, yes, there's pentagons and what's a six-sided shape? Hexagon and octagon. But back to these four-sided shapes, quadrilaterals. You've got a square. That's the kind of, the sides are the same and the angles are the same. You've got rectangle, where the angles are the same, and the two opposite sides are parallel. It's square, rectangle. And you'll notice, hey, a square is a rectangle. So some of these you'll see that they cross over. We've got what's called trapezoids. And a trapezoid is where only two of the sides are parallel. So it might be like those two. Or it might be these two sides are parallel. Maybe it's like this and this, where the other two sides are not. Square, rectangle, trapezoid. We got a rhombus. You can spell it with the H. A rhombus. Sometimes it's called a kite. And that's where these two are the same and those two are the same. How do I say this? Let's start with the rhombus. The rhombus is where the opposite sides are equal length. Equal length. And the kite is where, okay, those two are, and then these two may not be equal length. You can see how these two sides are not the same as those two. I could go on. I'm spending too much time on the video. You can research. You can look at. If you have questions on the assignment today regarding these, you can just research on the internet and say, now, what is this one called? What is that? My point is, you're going to be studying points, lines, angles, and shapes. These points on the angle right here, sometimes they're called a vertex, or they're vertices if there's many of them. The vertices of a triangle are right here, and right there, and right there. It's an interesting whiteboard, isn't it? My messy handwriting, you can definitely write it better than I am. But here's what you're going to be studying in geometry. I can say it a couple different ways. You're going to be studying what we call either anchor points or logic. This is all the same thing. Logic or if-then statements, or you'll be given a given something. You try to figure out the rest of it. Some proper terminology of it is, what are the axioms? So let's say I'm going to give you the axiom. Write a shape that has 4 equal sides. Write that now. You can hit pause. Okay, did you write this shape? Is that what you wrote? That's got 4 equal sides. Maybe you wrote this shape because that's got 4 equal sides. But you could have also written this shape or this shape because they all have 4 equal sides. One of you, in being fun, you might have done this. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not necessarily a shape. Let's say they're connected. But all I told you to do is write 4 equal sides. And everything else is changeable. What do I say? Draw a shape that has a right angle in it. Okay, well, if you did that, a shape that has a right angle, that one's got a right angle. But I didn't tell you what shape. You might have drawn a triangle. You might have drawn a square. You might have drawn a trapezoid. There's a lot of different shapes you can draw if I say, just do a right angle. So the hardship in this with geometry is you're going to be given certain conditions, and then you have to figure out what they're talking about. What do you see in your mind's eye? For example, on page 421, students in our club are designing a flag, has 4 sides with 2 sides that are twice as long as the other 2. What could it be? Well, let's write down what's given. 4 sides, and 2 sides are twice as long as the other 2. So let's say, and you can kind of see I've got these dots here. Here's one side, I'm going to make it length 1, and another side length 1, and then the other sides are twice as long. So there are the 4 sides, and 2 of the sides are twice as long as the other 2. What shapes could I make with that? Well, you put those together in all the different ways you create. You've got a rectangle, you've got a rod, you've got a kite, you've got, let's see, what else have we got there? If you put those together, you can, I'm kind of making up as I go on that one. But you could come up, of course, the rectangle is an easy one to see, but you can look and see how are all the ways that it can go together. And that's the work of today. That's really all it is. So spend the rest of the day doing pages. Well, I'm going to do a couple of these. But doing pages 424 through 426, just numbers 1 through 17. We're doing numbers 1 through 17, 424, 426. But take a look at the examples as you need. 424 through 426. I'm going to do a couple of these right now. And then the rest of them, you can look at the answer sheet, answer key below this video, and see if that helps you. So here we go, just a couple of these to kind of get you started. Draw freehand, so without using the math tool, a quadrilateral. Okay, so it's going to have 4 sides with exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. So let's say those ones are parallel. And one of the angle is 45 degrees. Whoa, one of the angle is 45, so that's half of 90. So if one of these is going to be 45 degrees, I'm going to make it parallel, and that's all they give me. This has to be 45, and this has to be parallel to this. Well, I can just draw this other line however I want. I can draw the line there or there. You're all going to have a shape that looks different on that. But notice I just had to make sure that I had a 45 degree and these two are parallel. On numbers 5 and 6, you're going to use the math tool. Use a ruler or protractor. Well, you don't have one. To draw a quadrilateral with 4 right angles, 2 sides of 3 and 2 sides of 4. What's the most descriptive name of the figure you drew? So you can spend some time on these, using the math tool if you'd like. Use the software to draw a quadrilateral where two of the angles are 80 and two of them are 100. You did that yesterday. Well, with the math tool, so don't feel too much concerned about that. If you want to try drawing these freehand instead of the math tool, I understand that. I can understand not wanting to work as much in math. The point of today is making sure you understand this concept. Number 14. These others up here, work on them, see what you can do, and see how it matches. See how it matches what's in the answer key. Which of the following shapes are trapezoids that have side lengths of 7 and 5 and a right angle? So we need a 7, a 5, and a right angle. So just kind of go through those and see what you see. There's a right angle, there's a right angle, there's a right angle. I don't see a right angle in this one at all. I'm just having some fun here because I can. Let's see, there's no right angle at all in this one. None of them are labeled with a 90 degree or with that little box that we draw to show 90 degrees. There's not a right angle there. There's not a right angle there. Now let's see, 7 and 5. Yeah, that's got a 7 and a 5 and a right angle. That's got a 7 and a 5 and a right angle. Let's see, that's got a 7 and a 5, and that's a right angle. Does this, I think they're trying to show you that this is not parallel. On trapezoids, two of the sides have to be parallel, and those don't look parallel to me. So I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to count that one because it's not, it looks like there's not a 90 degree right there. It looks like there's a 90 degree there and there. So often in finding these shapes, well, does it count if you can or can't see it? As long as you understand that these are trapezoids by the way they look, you understand the concept. The answer key might show something different. Just recognizing geometry, what something looks like and what it really is, might be a little hard to get both of those correct. But my thought is that these two both fit those conditions. If the answer key says something different, understand and go with the answer key and with what I'm saying and with what you're thinking. I'm not going to mark this, but I haven't checked the answer key yet to make sure if that's correct. But you can look up trapezoid and see that two of the sides have to be parallel. And then take a look at these last two. This last page, 15, 16, 17, part B. The whole point is that you're able to understand and see. Let's see, where have I got it? Where have I got it? Make sure you understand you're just studying points, lines, angles, and shapes with this geometry. Here's the four-sided shapes. And you're basically given some truths, and then you have to figure out the rest of it. And sometimes that might be a little confusing. Good luck with this. Give it a shot. Enjoy the answer key. Look at your answers and do those problems on those pages. And you're set for the day. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.